but we're a fantasy. And what I mean by that is everybody in their everyday life has stresses, and maybe they're going through a divorce, or maybe they haven't been around women for a while, or maybe they were overseas, or whatever, whatever the stresses of everyday life are. We're that fantasy where you can come, you can see beautiful women, right? Very hot women, and you can get your drink on. And we have every kind of alcohol you want, we have. You want bottle service, we have that. You want mixed drinks, we have that. You want craft cocktails, we have a few of those.
I have my sheriff's card,
Okay.
so all of these girls are required to get the sheriff card.
Yes.
So when you're getting your sheriff's card, I got mine for the alarm industry.
Okay.
You can see which ones are probably there for the gentleman's club
100%.
industry.
You can walk in the sheriff's office, that one, and that one,
and
that
then
one.
and then you got the weed, the cannabis people over
they all
there.
kind of like, they're like little cliques
clumps,
in high school,
No,
right?
for sure. All right, good evening, everybody. This is Elevation with Chris Oram, the show where we talk to individuals who have climbed the ladder of success. Today, I am joined by Derick Opela, and Derick works as the Director of Service at the Peppermint Hippo here in Las Vegas. So we welcome Derick to the show. We're very excited to hear more about who he is, what type of journey he's come from, and basically how he got to where he is today. So we welcome Derick to the show.
Hello.
Thanks for being here, Derick.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
So Derick was impressed here by the Sticky Paws Studios. I
Yes.
mean, how could you not be impressed with the studio here? But basically, we want to just have a conversation with Derick, see what's up with him, and see how he got to become the Director of Service here at the Peppermint Hippo in Las Vegas. I'm sure it's been quite the journey to get here, Derick. Would that be true to say?
It's it's almost like I made destiny my bitch.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, really, because I used to live here when I was younger, and my first foray into the nightlife, when I lived here the first time, Rhino was just being built. I think the Rhino was just built. The library, which isn't even around anymore, but the library was just built. I was going to school here, and I literally said, that's what I want to do. I want to work in the clubs. That was my thing, and here I am back in Vegas. I moved back to Vegas, and now I'm working in the clubs in a very cool, very, very, very cool club. Probably it's the newest. I call it the newest big club in Las Vegas, right? Because there's only a handful of big clubs, and you got a bunch of small clubs around Vegas. So Hippo is the newest big club. It's in the old Olympic Gardens, or OGs as it was known back in the day.
All right.
And and I kind of got cherry picked. I wasn't actually looking for them. I wasn't actually looking to go work for them. I didn't know anything about Hippo until I was working at another gentleman's club here in town, another pretty sizable one here in town, and I wasn't looking for a job, but there were some people that came and unbeknownst to me, were looking to bring me over there, and I went over there and did an interview with them, and they're like, "Hey, we want to bring you over." And I was like, "Whoa, I didn't know that's what this was. Like, can I have a couple days? Can I look at the company, see what's about?"
Yeah.
And I looked at them, and I was like, "This is pretty cool," because it's a startup. The company's only been around for like five years, 6 years. So it's a pretty cool company. And Alan, the owner, he's doing all the things he's doing are things that I've been wanting to do in the gentleman's club industry, because the gentleman's club industry is kind of dated a little bit, and it's a lot of it in a lot of ways is very kind of old school in the way that they do things and handle things and processes and procedures and all that stuff. Yep. And that's one of the main reasons I went over, because they're like, we're doing this, we're doing that, we're doing this, we're putting a really cool lighting system, we're bringing a Miami type vibe to it, and I was like, oh, this is freaking cool, man. Like, I can get down with this. And it was just really cool. It was a very unique concept. I've opened several establishments throughout my career, and this is probably, I would say, by far the most successful one that I've done. I'm very happy to be a part of Hippo, and it's something that, I get to wake up and be like, hey, I get to go to work, right?
Yeah.
Most people are like, oh, I got to go to work. I'm like, I get to go see boobies for a living. Like,
Yeah.
like, that's a cool job.
How could
It's
you not
cool.
love that?
Yeah, right. It's a cool job.
For sure.
So, I grew up in the nightlife. So yeah, it's cool, man.
So that's awesome to hear that this has been the most successful venture you've been a part of. Like, that's incredibly awesome to hear. So congratulations on that. How long have you been a part of this venture?
I got brought in to Hippo, gosh, It was probably 2 or 3 months before they opened. They were almost done with the build out by the time I got approached for it. Everything was still kind of the building was still very much in its destruction rebuilding phase of kind of like ripping out the old OGs and installing Hippo.
Okay.
And so when I got there, the building was pretty much gutted.
Yeah.
But within 2 or 3 months, we got it up and running, and it was crazy, man. So I've only been with them. We're about to have our anniversary here on I believe it's April 2nd, I believe. Because we did a soft opening in March, and then we did our grand opening, like I think it was April 2nd, I believe. And so we're getting ready to have our anniversary party here coming up. So
1 year?
Not 1 year. No. We're 2 years. We're going into our third year.
Got it.
Yeah. So it was because I was at the other place, moved here in 2020, 21. Yeah. So I got with Hippo in I believe it's 22 is when we opened in 22. Yeah, April of 22.
Okay. So what you're referring to as the Hippo, for those not familiar, which is extremely possible for those on the channel.
It's still it's very new.
I think, Derick, sometimes that you can forget when you're so involved in the scene that there's people that have no idea. They've never heard of the Peppermint Hippo.
They haven't. Yes. And we get that all the time. We get people that confuse us with the other gentleman's club that is of another animal here in town that's very famous. And a lot of us used to work there. Yeah. Honestly, a lot of us. I used to be a GM for that company, and I personally don't have anything ill to say about that company. They treated me very well when I was employed with them. But yeah, it's Peppermint Hippo is the story of Peppermint Hippo is kind of crazy because I thought this was a joke at first. So Alan, my understanding of it, and I could be wrong on this, but my understanding of it is it came from a South Park episode, and we actually had, I think it was someone that came in that was very famous that came through. I'm not gonna say names, so. Because of what I do. But yeah, it's a spin-off of the South Park episode where the Peppermint Hippo, and in that episode, they're basically making fun of the other club, right? Yeah. And it was just funny and so I guess the owner's like, hey, I'm going to make that the new club, right? And it stuck. So now the one here in Vegas was the 7th club that we opened. We have several more in the works. It's a tremendously fast-growing company. I think we're the fastest-growing gentleman's club company in the United States right now. And it is doing phenomenally well. I can't even begin to describe to you how cool it is. Things that we're doing, the people we're bringing in, the concepts that we're doing, our management team as a whole is it's younger than most, right? I think our GM Bob, I think he's only like 44, 43 or 44. Like our management team as a whole is pretty young. Yeah. So we're very much into social media. Like if you go to our social media compared to other social media, like it's more on par with everything that's going on, right? The trends and everything like that. And that's because we have a younger management team that's really in tune with what's going on, how social media works, how marketing works, what people want, what you want to see, right? And we're not about the raunchy stuff. That's not our thing, right? We're classy, but we're edgy, right? Yeah. We find the happy medium, especially with the guys that we have doing marketing right now. They're really in tune with what's going on.
I saw you guys did something with Adam 22 around the AV.
Yes, yeah. Oh man, what was there? Yeah, we did.
Something was going on.
Yes, it was a big party. It was a huge party, and it was really cool. And it brought a lot of focus. Like even our IG page has grown by leaps and bounds, even over the 2 years we've been on. Like we're getting like a lot of traction, man. A lot of traction. And it's just cool to help build that, right? When you're someone who comes in and you're like, I help build a Las Vegas club. Yeah. Like, that's a cool thing. And I know to some people that's like, oh, whatever. But for me, that's a big deal, right? Yeah. I got to help build a main focal point, a main gentleman's club that's on the only gentleman's club that's on the Strip. Right. We're the only one.
I see that on the billboards.
Yes, right. Yes. Yeah. And that's true. It's very true. Right. It's a little bit past the stratosphere, right? So, it's just cool to have that on my resume, and just because of that, just because I have what I have on my resume, now I have people reaching out to me on LinkedIn. Hey, you want to do this? Hey, are you interested in this? And like, I have absolutely no desire to leave Hippo whatsoever. Right. I love my job, but it's cool to have that. It's cool to have people reaching out saying, hey, you want to do this? So, yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
So from an outsider's perspective, like what separates Hippo from the other clubs? If I'm a tourist coming into Vegas for the weekend, I don't really know what you mean by like some of the ideas that you're incorporating at the Hippo. So if you could elaborate on that and expand on kind of some of the revolutionary ideas that you're implementing.
Well, like I said, with our marketing, for example, our marketing isn't like you can go to every other club in this city.
Yeah.
They don't have the type of marketing that we have, right? We wholeheartedly go full force on the reels. We do we have an in-house guy that does all of our photo shoots, that does our editing, that puts together concepts. We special order costumes so we can do photo shoots. Not only that, but we have the people we're bringing in, like Adam, right? And that whole crew.
Yeah.
We look at what's popular, right? And it's not just, are we a gentleman's club? Of course we're a gentleman's club, but we're also that spot that if you want a place that's not the same ho-hum, that's been around for 20 years, that has the same ideas, that doesn't really change much, that's cool. They're those kind of clubs. We're not that club.
Yeah.
We're the club that's going to bring you the new age stuff. And when it comes to celebrities, when it comes to what's not, and it's not like movie celebrities, right? Because now we're in an age in social media where you can be a social media star. You can be a social media influencer.
And you can have more influence than
any celebrity,
yes,
than
correct.
any actor, any rapper, whoever, right? And we understand that. And that's really, I think, where we shine is we're outside the box thinking when it comes to the kind of promotions that we do. We're not just doing these everyday ho-hum promotions, right? There's a club here in town that does $200 day shift bottles. That's cool. Good for you. If it works, good for you. That's great, right? That's an old concept that's been around for a while. What about trying this? What about trying that? What about, and when we sit down and we do our marketing, it's not just one guy making a decision. It's all of us in management saying, hey, what about this? Would this work? You think this is a good idea, right? And we'll kind of like play with the concept. We'll bounce it off each other. And I think that's really in my mind, when it comes, marketing is everything. When it comes to a business, marketing is everything. Marketing and location is everything. We already have the location, right? And so it's up to us as a team to make sure that we stay on top of those things that are popular. The popular reels, what songs are used in those reels? How do you push those reels? What are they best marketed to? And the reason I know I'm focusing a lot on social media, but social media is marketing when it comes to our generation, right? And the old generation, you had Time Magazine, you had the New York Times, you had this, you had the books, you had the newspapers. That's not what it is anymore.
Right.
And you have to change with the times if you want to. And that's the problem with a lot of these, not just Gentlemen's Club, a lot of companies in general, is they get so big that they forget that they're just like, oh, we're just going to survive on our name. And that's why a lot of companies end up going down because they're not willing to invest in those new ideas, right? And with us, it's like you can't have a guy that's 80 years old doing this stuff. He's not going to be able to relate, right? And that's why you have to start talking to this younger generation. Hey, what do you think of this? What's your idea?
Yeah.
Do you have a good idea? And a lot of times it's really good ideas, man. These younger guys, they have really good ideas, and they're solid freaking things to go with. So I think really that's where we shine is just how we do our marketing and how we implement it and what we're offering as opposed to, our club. When you come in our club, you feel a different vibe. I don't know. Have you ever been there?
No, I have not.
Okay. Well, you're welcome to come, man. Anytime you want to come down there, let me know. You got my number.
Appreciate it.
But it's once you walk in there, you can tell it's different. It just doesn't, it feels more like a hybrid nightclub. It's like a hybrid nightclub gentleman's club.
Okay.
And that's more what we're going for because like when I go to some other clubs, they just want you to come in, sit down and just be quiet and buy some drinks over there, right? It's not us. We want you to come in, have a good time. Maybe you're with your girl, you dance a little bit with your girl or something, Yeah. Nothing crazy, but it's a younger vibe. It's a younger feel. It's a newer age club. That's what I would say.
So would you say, like, walk me through kind of, I was going to ask a couple different questions. So your role is the director of service, correct?
Yes.
What does that mean?
So I'm basically in charge of talking to customers on the floor, fixing issues on the floor. I run the cocktail department. I run the VIP department. I run the DJ department. I'm involved. I run the catering. I run, those are the more core things that I run, but I also help a little bit out in the marketing department. And then, kind of help coordinate. I don't do the photo shoots. Like I do photography as a hobby, but I'm not the photo guy. And help coordinate the photo shoots, right? So it's more everything that has to do with the floor or customer service or cocktails or getting your cocktails or anything like that. Yeah. I have basically a hand in, right?
Gotcha. It sounds like it.
Yeah, right. So I mean, anything that has to do with service, right? Aside from the bar, we have a bar manager. He takes care of the bar.
Gotcha.
But yeah, when anything that comes to direct contact, most of the time with customers, customer complaints, any of that stuff, I deal with 99% of that stuff.
Gotcha. So talk to me about the experience when someone walks in the door. So they likely have to pay a cover. Is that correct?
They have to pay a cover. If you use our transportation, well, obviously you get a free cover, right? You can come in, you got a free transportation, you come in, do your thing for free. Otherwise, we have a cover like every other club. We are competitive when it comes to the cover. It's pretty much on par with every other club. So you come in, you're greeted with this really cool lit up walkway that has these really cool stanchions that light up that have our logo on it. And right when you get in, you're greeted with this massive metal hippo. Mm-hmm. It was built by, I believe it was a Russian artist. I think it was Russian.
It's viral on the internet.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah. She has her own, I think, IG page, I believe. And it's very famous. And the thing with that hippo, which is really cool, is I got to watch it get built. And it was the artist, from my understanding, he was flown out here and he welded it together inside Hippo, right? It wasn't something that we brought in. He brought it in a bunch of square pieces because he's an artist, and he welded it inside the club and then did his thing, and then we put it right. It's the centerpiece, right? When you walk in the foyer, you see it right when you walk in. She's right there. So, and it's life size too. Same exact size a normal hippo would be.
That's dope.
So a lot of people take pictures with it. We have a lot of celebrities that come in and take pictures with it. It's like the focal point of the club, and I would say it's cool, man. It's a very cool, fuck.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
So when people walk in, they look at this hippo and they clearly say, wow. So in the industry you're in, it looks like when you show up to the party, here clearly what you're wearing today shows the wow. So let's give it up for Derick's suit, ladies and gentlemen. So clearly that's awesome. So let's go ahead and dive into our Celsius. But Derick, you asked me a question. Let's cheers to that.
Yes.
You said, have I ever been to the club? And I gave the unfortunate answer of no. But I want to tell you that one of the final things I did before I left my master's degree program in Reno, Nevada, is that I went to the Peppermint Hippo in Reno, Nevada.
Oh, okay.
So, I'm not an outsider to the Peppermint Hippo. I just haven't been to the Vegas one yet.
Okay. Yeah, so the strange story about that hippo. I actually helped build that club before it was Hippo. It used to be called Goldfinger. So I started my career in this industry in Reno, Nevada.
Okay.
So I know all about Reno. I was there. I started obviously in Pacific Beach Club. While I was there, I moved over to the owner's other club, which is called Vino's Nightclub, which is an all 80s dance club, and it was super popular for a long time. And then I finally moved over. I moved over when I turned 21 over to the men's club in Reno, Nevada, which is still there.
Yeah.
Popular spot, great food. I think Cleve is still the GM there, if I'm not mistaken.
All right.
So I started there, and but anyway, my point was I also worked at a place called Cafe Bellicera, and at Cafe Bellicera I met the executive chef named Royce and the bar manager Brent, who is now working at Treasures, actually.
All right.
Ironically enough, it's a small world.
No, I'm sure it's a small world.
So when they first moved there, they opened. They're from Miami. It was him. Brent, Royce, Dino, and Gary, and they all moved here from Miami, Florida, and they had a place called Goldfinger, I guess, out in Miami. I've never been to it. And then so they opened Bellicera, and then they went to go open the strip club called Goldfinger, right? I don't know what happened with Goldfinger. Some of this, some of that happened. It shut down for whatever reason. And then Hippo bought that spot, and Hippo ended up doing a build out. And so I am very familiar with that club, and I went there for the first time when we first opened because I had to go get some supplies from that club to bring it down to our club. And It's a beautiful club. It's not that big, but the way they did it is they kept the fridges that were in there, which is really nice. It's a very sexy club. I very much like it. So that's cool that you've been there. Our club, I would say, is 3 to 4 times the size of that club.
Do you have the square footage? Do you know that?
No, not off the top of my head. No, because it's a 3-story building though too. So we have the main floor, which has 2 stages. We have stage 1 on the right, stage right when you walk in. You got stage 1 on the right, stage 2 on the left, and then you have offices on the second building, which is like where Alan and all the executives for the company. That's where they do their thing. And then we have our third floor, which we turned into a nightclub.
Nice.
And that it's not officially open as of yet, but it should be opening, I think, here soon. So it's going to be.
Is this a new concept?
Yeah, it's kind of a new concept. It's a new concept that was put together through I don't know, someone, and they built it out. And now, because I'm involved in crypto too, right?
Yeah.
So the gentleman that's involved in that, building that out, is also involved in crypto, and his name is also Derick. Ironically enough.
Yeah.
So. It's very unique in the sense that we're going to be having a nightclub on the top. I would say it's like a nightclub lounge, right? It's not like a full-blown, it's not like Omnia or something, but it's like a upscale kind of lounge, which is really cool on the top floor. And then we'll have, the gentleman's club on the bottom floor, so people can kind of go back and forth. Obviously, none of the dancers will be up there, but they'll all be on the bottom. So you can go to that club, and then when you're down up there, you can go downstairs and hang out with us.
Yeah.
So it's a new concept, and it's going to be unique for Vegas because there's no other club in Vegas that has that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
that should be awesome. I'm excited to see what that turns out like.
It's I think I'm trying to remember the name of it. I can't remember the name of it right now. I'm sure it'll come to me at some point. Yeah.
Cool, man. So for someone going to the gentleman's club for the first time, so what happens at a gentleman's club?
I mean, I'll tell you the same thing that I tell all of my cocktail waitresses, right? We are a fantasy. Right. That's what a gentleman's club is. We are a fantasy for you to get away from your life for a little while, okay? A gentleman's club, obviously, I mean, we cater to everyone, whether you're a guy or a girl. We have female parties come in there all the time, and that's great if you want to come in there. But we're a fantasy, and what I mean by that is everybody in their everyday life has stresses, and maybe they're going through a divorce, or maybe they haven't been around women for a while, or maybe they were overseas, or whatever, whatever the stresses of everyday life are. We're that fantasy where you can come, you can see beautiful women, right? Very hot women, and you can get your drink on, man. Yeah. We have every kind of alcohol you want, we have. You want bottle service, we have that. You want mixed drinks, we have that. You want craft cocktails, we have a few of those, right? We're that place that you can come and relax at and just be surrounded by beautiful women with alcohol, if that's your thing, right? Whether you're a guy or girl, because I know I have girfriends that love that too, and they want to come in there like, oh, you got half naked girls and you got alcohol. Oh yeah, come on, man, let's go. So I would that's how I would describe it. We're a fantasy, and I tell anyone that works in the gentleman's club industry knows, right? When you go to a gentleman's club, the people that are coming in there, they're not coming there to hear your problems, right? They're not coming there to hear about what's wrong in your life. Right. They're coming there to get away from their life, right? They're coming there for the fantasy, right? Correct. They like that. They want to relieve some stress. They just want to be around. They want to maybe get a lap dance or something, get a dance on the floor. Maybe they just want to sit there, listen to the music, and have some drinks, and just see some great scenery.
Speaking of lap dance, how much does a lap dance cost?
On the floor it's $20, right? Okay. It's a pretty standard price. Okay. And then when you go to VIP, it depends on what you do, right? There's you got a 15-minute room, you got a 30-minute room, you got an hour room, you got a upscale half hour, an hour room. We have the OG room, which the OG room is like it's an upscale lounge. The OG room is so you have stage 1, stage 2, and then behind stage 2, you have this beautiful walkway that's just surrounded by bottles. It's a great place to take pictures, but that's called the OG room, and it's kind of like an homage to Olympic Gardens. That's why we call it the OG room. Right. But it has its own feel. It has its own vibe. It's a little bit quieter, but the music, it's not the DJ music that's playing. We have our own separate sound system that's in there. A lot of our upscale clientele go in there. A lot of our celebrities that come in, they like to go in there because it's private. It's away from everyone else. It has its own private rooms in there. It has its own bar in there with its own bartender. It has its own supervisor in there. It has its own waitress in there. It's a dedicated room that's off. If you want an upscale experience that's away from the main floor where it's not as loud, but you can still do your thing, you want the OG room. That's the upscale experience.
Sounds like a VIP experience.
Yeah, very much, very much. Yes. Yeah.
So it's not for your standard first timer, perhaps.
It
could be.
It can be. It's it's open to the public, right?
Yeah.
And we want everyone to feel like a rock star when they come in, right? That's the point.
Right.
That's the whole point. We want you to feel like you're getting good service and you feel like a rock star when you walk in. Just because not everyone has millions of dollars, right? Not everyone does, and that's okay. But we don't want you feeling like, oh, we don't want you because maybe you don't get paid till next week. You can still come down and have a beer, man. Yeah. Have a beer, have a drink, have a shot on me. Come have a good time, relax a little bit. That's what we want. We want people that come in there to just have fun. And we're getting ready to get our food off the ground, so we'll have food there, right, to go with it, and we have a full menu. So yeah, that's really what it is. It's just it's not somewhere you're not going to be shamed for coming there if you don't, just because maybe you didn't get paid that week.
Yeah,
right? You can still come there and have a cheap beer and have fun.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
So I've actually, the rock and roll marathon was a couple days ago. I've done it in the last couple of years, and on our half marathon path, we definitely do run past the Peppermint Hippo.
Yeah.
So I'm very familiar with where you guys are at, but that's cool. Like it's really cool that these fantasy worlds, as you call it, exist in Las Vegas.
Yeah. I think it's very much needed, especially because adulting sucks, dude.
Yeah.
Adulting's hard, bro. Like, it's yeah, I think it's much needed, because if you didn't have a fantasy or you didn't have a getaway, people would drive themselves crazy. We'll have more everything, more bad everything. Yeah, we need it.
So, do you know how many clubs are in Vegas, approximately?
No.
20, 25?
If I had to guess, it's probably, do you mean like big clubs and small clubs? Or?
Yeah.
Gosh.
What's the difference between a big club, as you describe, and a small club?
So you have the main big clubs in Vegas, and what I mean by that, like, there's genuinely really large clubs, right? So you have Crazy Horse 3,
yep.
You have Hustler,
yep.
You have Rhino,
yep.
You have Sapphire,
yep.
You have us,
yep.
And Treasures, right? Those are the 6 big clubs.
Okay.
Those are clubs you go in, you're like, wow, this is like a big, it's a big building.
This is
right?
a large room.
Like, it's a very large strip club with a lot of girls.
Yeah.
And then you have your smaller clubs, right? And I'm not throwing shade at anyone when I say, I don't mean it in a negative way when I say smaller clubs. I don't mean it like that. I just mean like they're literally smaller clubs. Like Centerfolds, for example, it's a smaller club. It's across the street from, I think, Virgin. You have Play It Again Sam's, which is a really small club. You have the only club in Vegas. It's a smaller club, beautiful inside though. I've only been there one time. Palomino.
Yeah.
Right. It's a full nude club with alcohol. It's the only one in the city with that. On the outside, just because it's in a weird kind of neighborhood, but you go inside, they did a great job in that club. It looks great.
Which club is this?
It's called Palomino.
Okay, and then what's down the street?
I think they have
It's across the street from Jerry's Nugget.
I don't know. What is that one?
Chica's Bonitas.
Chica's Bonitas. That's right. Yeah, that's right. I think that's like right across the street from it, isn't it?
It is.
Isn't it in the same parking lot?
Yeah, bro. I think it's probably less than a football field.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I haven't been to that club, but I know there's a lot of stories about that club, and that's those are both landmark places in Vegas, though. Those have been around for a while, right?
Decades.
Especially Palomino, right?
So, I think since the 60s.
Staples. Yeah, they're staples in Las Vegas. So yeah, I actually very much enjoyed Palomino's. I thought it was a great club.
So when you walk into other clubs, what are you kind of like looking at? Like, you've talked to me a lot about the vibe of your club. Mm-hmm. So I know what the vibe means because in my career, I create vibes for people. So that's the music, the lighting, the ambiance, the feeling, the emotions, all of that.
Very much so.
So when you walk in the club, like, are you looking at seating? Are you looking at
I'm looking
service?
Everything.
You're looking at everything.
I'm looking at everything, right? Because that's my job.
Yeah.
Like that's what I do at the club. And for one, all of our jobs as I think managers and owners is to do what I call comp sets, right? And evaluating your competition, making sure you're on par with them, making sure everything's kind of like lined up, and hey, can you do this better than them, or maybe we can, or whatever the case is, right? So when I say vibe, I'm talking about, because I've been in this game for 20 years, right? So I'm 38 now. So a lot of vibes, they stem from what you're doing in the club. If you have music, for example, let's say music, okay? Music will make or break a club. It will make or break a club, right? If you're at a club and you're playing music that is 20, 30 years old, no one's going to want to stay there, bro. Like, you can throw a couple old songs in. There's nothing wrong with that, right? You can throw those old strip club songs in every once in a while that everyone knows. That's totally cool. But if you're consistently playing old school stuff, no one that is my age bracket, I'm not going to go in there. That's not my, I don't want to be around. That's not my, I'm not going to have a good time, right? Because music, regardless of what people say, music has a way of introducing emotion into what you're doing, right? It has a way of making you feel a certain way, whether it's nostalgic or you're energetic or you're having a good time. If you play down tempo nothing, you're going to have a crap club, right? But if you're at least current with what's going on, you're going to be able to appeal to the newer generation that's coming in, but you also want to temper it with a little bit of the old stuff too, because you also have that older generation that's coming in that's spending money, right? And now we're getting to a point where it's not just the older generation that has money. The younger generation is starting to get money as well, especially doing stuff like this, right? Or social media, that's how they make their money, right? And so you got to be able to play it, and this is, you can ask all of my cocktail waitresses. I'm sure they are so sick of me saying this, but I tell all of them the same thing. It's all about balance. Everything in life, in business, especially business, is about balance. It's about understanding your crowd, who you're trying to appeal to, the new people you're trying to bring in, and who you're already appealing to with the vibe that you're presenting in the club, right? You can still present a very current, up-to-date club and still be welcoming to the older generation, as long as you're doing it in the right way, respectful way, right? So, like, in our club, we play a lot of the top music, top hits and everything, but we also have a top-of-the-line sound and lighting system. Like, we dropped a lot of money on the sound system and lighting system in there, but that's because we're trying to bring a vibe that's across the country to Las Vegas. We're not trying to turn Vegas into that. We're just trying to give Vegas an alternative that they don't have, right? That some people love. And a lot of that has to do with the music and what you're doing inside that club and how you're presenting yourself in that club. So yes, I would say, you know, music is probably one of the number one aspects of making a club successful, 100%.
Gotcha. So Derick, I know that your club, the Peppermint Hippo, has top Yelp reviews as well as Google. Is that correct?
Yelp, Google, we're
ton of 5 stars.
Yeah,
right?
we are the highest rated gentlemen's club in Vegas right now. Yes.
So that sounds like you guys deliver on your promise. Whatever you post on social media, you get people in the door. I think that's step number 1, getting them in the door.
Yes.
And then step number 2 is, you know, creating a raving fan at the club and then having them tell their friends, hey, this was awesome. 100%. You got to check it out.
100%.
So it sounds like that's working.
Yes, and it very much is, because anyone that understands business, 70 to 80% of business is word of mouth, right? You can do all the marketing you want. You can drop millions of dollars in marketing, but it's always going to be what it comes down to the actual experience of the club. How did you feel when you were there? Did you have a good time? Did you feel like you got the amount of product that what you spent your money on, right? You feel satisfied with what you spent compared to what you got. So if I have, you know, a group of 5 guys that come in there and our prices are so high and they didn't get anything, then they're not going to feel it. But if they come in there, they feel the vibe, they feel the music. We have beautiful girls in there and they're spending a good amount of money. You have to make, I go up to them. Like, I hand them my business. Hey, how are you? My name is Derick. What can I do for you? Are you guys having a good time? What can I do for you? Right? And just talking to those people, and that's a huge aspect, I think, that a lot of other places and businesses and clubs in general, is they don't connect with their audience. Right? They just survive. They're just people. And they just try and survive on their name without going up to people and actually asking, hey, are you having a good time? In real time. Everyone wants to be, I try and be proactive, right? Everyone likes to do after the fact. Oh, you didn't have a good time because they left a bad Google review. Then they're like, oh, why'd you have a bad time, right? Instead of just going up while they're there, hey, are you guys having a good time? Oh, you're not. I'm sorry. What can I do for you? What can I do to make this better, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes you can't win. There's instances, listen, we have a couple bad Google reviews on there, and there's instances where I genuinely can't do anything to please the customer because whatever their complaint was, their expectation in their head, maybe they didn't meet it or whatever the case is. But at the end of the day, it's all about trying. And if you as a company are not trying, you're not talking to your customers, you're not taking in genuine feedback. Hey, I think that you guys could do this better because of X, Y, and Z. Actually, you're right on that. Maybe that's a good idea, right? And maybe that's something that we present to the owner or my GM, right, Bob, or whatever the case is. And a lot of that stuff, in my experience doing this, which is why I like working at Hippo so much, is a lot of this stuff on a lot of the other clubs, a lot of other management teams, older management teams or clubs that have been around, established for a while. They don't take that criticism. They don't listen to it. They're just like, oh, screw that guy. He just didn't have a good time, so screw him, right? And to me, you can't do that, right? You cannot tell every customer, oh, go fuck yourself, right? Like that's not how to gain good business. That's terrible. Right. And you don't have enough managers that care about their job to see what the actual problem was. Because I promise you, if I didn't address half the problems I address when it comes to customers, our Google review wouldn't be even half of what it is right now. And that's mainly because let me rephrase that. It's not just me, right? We have a team. We have a whole team there, and our team is glorious. I love our team. So it's not just me, and I want to make sure I state that because it's not. If we didn't address these issues, we wouldn't even be where we are. But we have a bunch of managers that all come from a background of we were just tired of being around other managers that are salty. Like if you're salty in the customer service industry, why are you here, bro? Yeah. Like what are you doing? You shouldn't be here. Because those salty managers are what cause all of your massively bad Google reviews because you don't take the time to go figure out what the problem is. You're just like, oh, that guy sucks. Fuck him.
Yeah. Right? And I think that can be parallel to any industry.
Anything. And that's, and that's why I always advocate. Some people are just in their position too long, man. And, when you get to a position and you've been doing it for 15 years and your club is still, maybe you're doing okay numbers, but the reality of the fact is that maybe you have a lot of bad reviews and you're only surviving based on what your reputation was, not currently is. Like there's a problem, man. Right. And you'll see, and what you're going to start seeing, and this is America in general, is you're going to start seeing the rise of startups. You start seeing the rise of newer companies. You know why? Because they care. They care about what's going on. They care about making their company successful and bringing that. We're in the service industry. Right. That is literally our job, to make sure that customers are happy when they come in. So if you have a whole management team that's just like, well, whatever, your club, I'm sorry, but when these newer guys come in, like us or like another strip club, for example, or whatever, another startup, they're going to start taking your business because you're not focusing on it. You're surviving off your name. You're putting money into marketing, but you're not taking the time to go down and talk to your customer. Hey, Joe, how you doing, brother? Yeah. I noticed you had a rum and Coke. It changed it up. Is it you got Bacardi instead of Captain? Is everything okay? Yeah. Oh, yeah, I just want to try something new. Oh, that's great. Hey, let me get the next one for you. Yeah. Right? Just talking to them, having a conversation. That's not me. That's not me doing my job. It's just me being friendly. Yeah. You want to go somewhere you're friendly, right? Somewhere that you can have fun, that you can relax, that you like the people that work there, right? And that's what customer service is. It's not, and it relates into another subject that I'm passionate about is robots or AI taking over, like that McDonald's, for example, that's all automated that we all heard about, right? And the reason I bring that up is because people like to party with other people. You don't go out and you're like, I'm going to go to the club, and you want to go to the club and it's empty. No one wants to do that. They go out because they want to party with other people. It's social interaction, right? And so if you're providing that vibe where you're going out and you're having a good time and you're like, damn, every time I go to that club, I have a good time. I don't break the bank on it. Yeah. They're not like clubbing me over the head with bottles or whatever the case is, but you have that human connection. And that's what it's about. That is what a gentleman's club is all about. You're going there for the human connection, whether it's with the girl or the people that are there or the management team. I have a guy that comes in there. I don't want to say his name because I don't know if he wants his name said, but like I'm a huge nerd, for example. Dude, I got Star Trek cufflinks, bro. Right? Nice. That's how big of a nerd I am.
Okay, so this is what I say. This is episode number 4, and you're the second guest to talk about their cufflinks. So
really?
Congratulations on that. That's a win.
Awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. That's cool. I like that. Yeah. So he's, the reason I bring him up is because he comes in all the time, and he used to be a customer of another club here in town.
Yeah.
But he comes to our club just because of how he's treated. He's treated like, I think of him actually as a friend, right? Because me and him nerd out about stuff all the time. I literally send him stuff on IG all the time, just nerdy stuff, like stuff about the Star Trek series or the Enterprise or whatever the case is. And he's like, genuinely probably the only person that can relate, because he's just as big of a nerd as I am. But that's my point, right? You create those connections. You create those connections with other people, and they're like, you know what? That's my home. That's where I want to go to, right? That's my hangout spot. That's where I feel safe. I can have a beer. I can have drinks. I can go to a room if I want to, if it's that kind of day, or I can just chill out at the bar, right? And have a good time.
And I feel like once people establish a home and everything continues to go well and they're happy with the service, they stay.
Yeah, 100%.
They don't go looking around until they get fucked over.
Until they're
once.
neat, right? Exactly.
And then they're out.
Exactly. And that's, you're
proactively stopping that engagement.
Right. And you have to be engaged, because that right there is why we have siphoned customers from other establishments, right? Because they got burned at them, or they had bad customer service, or maybe the manager was a jack-off, or whatever the case is, right? That's why we've started getting and gaining such a following and growing as fast as we're going.
Yeah.
I have never worked in an establishment that year after year it's just boom, 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 boom. We're just going up and up and up and up.
So when you're talking about that, talk to me. I love business and the the backside of a business. So talk to me about like what are the key metrics that you're looking for at the Gentlemen's Club? Like, you're looking at revenue. What are you looking at? Number of people entering the club?
Yes, I mean, well, it all goes off of YOI, right? The year over year, right? So we base it on we have, like any management team, we have a spreadsheet that says, okay, in January we had X amount of customers come in, and we made X amount of revenue, and we had X amount of discounts, right? And we judge it based off that, right? But it goes further, because the way Vegas works is it works on a payout system. It works on with the cabs and the taxis, and you have to market and get in good with all of these little entities and nuances in Vegas, because a lot of what happens in Vegas isn't translated to other cities or other states. Vegas is a very niche, very, very, very niche market when it comes to certain aspects and getting people in there.
And you talk about like cab drivers, drivers and recommendations, and the transportation is huge to your industry.
It's huge.
It's like the way to get people in the door.
And you can look at, if you want a perfect example of what happens when you reject and don't pay attention to the taxi industry or the transportation industry, look at what happened. And I don't mean this, I'm sorry if you're listening, I don't mean this in a bad way, but look at what happened to Rick's Cabaret when they were here, right? They wanted to come in, they wanted to change the industry, and they're not here anymore, right? Because they didn't want to do the things that you need to do to properly market your club and appeal to those people that bring people to your club. And it sucks, because I have nothing against Rick's. Rick's is a great company. The whole company, RCI, is a great company. I have nothing ill to say about them. But, you can't go into a city, we're going to change the city and how it functions. Yeah. No, bro. No, you're not. You may do that over time. Yeah. You may be able to do that, but you're not going to start off in the city and be like, okay, we're done. We're not doing that anymore. Okay, well, there goes your business. Now you're gone.
I imagine the girls are a key aspect to any successful club.
100%.
How do you maintain the quality as high of girls as well as, I guess, the quantity, making sure that there's the X amount of girls, I guess the quota, or what the ideal amount for the evening is?
So they're IPEs, they're independent entertainers, right? Independent contractors.
Can I pause you before you answer the question? Yeah. I have my sheriff's card, so all of these girls are required to get the sheriff card.
Yes.
So when you're getting your sheriff's card, I got mine for the alarm industry.
Okay.
You can see which ones are probably there for the gentlemen's club 100%. Industry.
You can walk in the sheriff's office, that one and that one and that one.
And then you got the weed, cannabis people over there. They all kind of like,
they're like little cliques
clumps,
in high school,
No,
right?
for sure. Okay, so back to the question. They're independent contractors. Talk me through more of that.
All right. So we don't have quotas, right?
Okay.
We do have, how do I say it? We have numbers adequate numbers we're happy with.
Right.
When it comes to the amount of girls we need on the floor.
Right.
They're not employees though, so you can't make schedules for them. Right. You can give them shifts. Hey, you can come in on this shift or whatever, but you can't make a schedule. They get to basically.
So they don't have. If you give them a shift, they don't have to come in.
No, they don't. They're not. No, a shift
They're not
is
required.
a shift is just saying
An
hey,
opportunity.
Yeah, it's an opportunity
Yeah.
that you can come in on this time if you want to come in, but it's not like we can't pencil them in and say, oh, you're going to get a write up if you don't come in. Like it doesn't work like that.
Interesting.
Right?
Okay.
So and because of that, they. The girls come in and they're basically renting the space is how it works in the gentleman's club industry, right? The girls come in, they're renting the space. We provide the space, they're renting the space.
How much? So it's a nightly payout to the club for renting the space. How much does that pay out?
It varies from day. It depends on the day.
Gotcha.
It depends on the time,
Yeah.
right? And so, it's like what Wendy's is trying to do right now with their business.
Yeah.
They're playing with that
The
thing.
dynamic
Pricing,
Yeah.
right? It has, and in this, it's very much so that because obviously we're going to be busier between the hours of 9 and 5 a.m. than we are at 1 to 9 p.m. or whatever, 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. because we're one of the only 24-hour clubs left in Vegas.
Yeah.
So it depends on the time though too, right? So we have different pricing for different times and we have different days. So it just depends on popular days. We're a tourist city. You have conventions. Like right now, I think we have Builders going on. Builders is a great convention.
I'm sure.
And there's good money involved
Yeah.
in it, right? So yeah, the way that works is they're basically coming in, they're renting the space out or buying their space to basically be an independent contractor.
And they have to audition for that role?
Yeah, every strip club you have to audition. Every gentleman's club
To
you
get paperwork to go to
Correct.
get their sheriff's card or their
Correct.
paperwork.
Yeah, because you have to get what's called a referral.
Okay.
And it's a sheriff's card referral, right?
Yep.
So you do the audition, you get the sheriff's card referral, and then you go to the sheriff's office and you wait there for an ungodly amount of time to get your sheriff's card.
What's an audition like? This is what the people want to know, Derick.
I'm giving away trade secrets.
Yes. What's an audition like?
It's in auditions, it's a very simple process, right? You're coming in and we're just seeing if you are a right fit for our club, right? Not every girl's a right fit for our club or our vibe, right? And it's based on a lot of factors. It's not just one factor. It depends. Like they're like Chico's Bonitas. We'll take that for example. Again, not saying anything ill about them. Their vibe and the type of girl that they would bring into their establishment is 100% different than the type of girl we're going to bring into our establishment. Nothing wrong with either one of them.
Yeah.
It's just the type of clientele we are appealing to and the type of clientele we want to come in the door, right? And by doing that, again, it comes back to, they're not employees, but that type of thing, right? You don't, like me personally, I'm not a hole in the wall guy. That's not my thing, right? There are hole in the walls that some of them do great. Yeah. That's their vibe. They don't probably have the kind of girl that I'm particularly looking for. I'm very picky when it comes to what I'm looking for, right? And I know that this small club over here isn't going to have what I want, right? So I'm going to go to one of the clubs that I know is going to have, because I've been there, so I can visually see, I know they're going to have the type of alcohol that I want or the vibe that I want, the party vibe that I want, or the type of girls that I want to hang out with and party with. So that's really what it comes down to. It just comes down to, are you the right fit for our establishment? That's
How do you find the right establishment for you? Like if you have a specific type of woman that you're attracted to, how do you find which club caters to that? You experiment, you ask a buddy?
Yeah, I mean, it really comes down, it does. It comes down to experimenting, right? If I've never been to Vegas before, my first instinct is going to be, which is why I am not just the cab. Yeah. My first instinct is to go Google. Yeah. I'm going to go to Google Maps and I'm going to type in strip clubs in Vegas. Yeah. Guess what's going to pop up? My club's going to pop up. You know why my club's going to pop up? Because I take care of my clients. I take care of my guests that come through the door. And that's where that comes from. So naturally, your first human instincts say, oh, this has the highest one. And because we're a tourist city, you know how many people come through the door? And I'm not even trying to brag about this. I'm being genuinely honest about this. When I'll go to the front door, because I make rounds in the club. I'll check here, check there. I go to the front door. People are coming in. I'll talk to people that are in. How'd you hear about us? Oh, you guys have the highest rating in the city. You know how many times a night I hear that? It is constant.
That's amazing.
It is constant, right? That's part of building a business, is making sure that you're the best, right? If your first instinct as a human, when I go on vacation, I'm looking around. Hey, I love Mexican food, Mexican restaurants. Oh, why is this one rated 4 stars, 5 stars? I go in there, I look at the reviews. What were the bad reviews? Oh, well, that just sounds like a Karen. Okay.
That's exactly what my dad says. He says the same shit, bro.
So that's what it is. It's about appealing in all aspects. But you have to know human psychology. And one of your first instincts is to look around. What's around me? Why is it rated higher than everything else around me? Right? So that's why I focus on that. And that's really where it comes from.
So what was your first gentleman's club role?
I was just a floor host. Well, and my first gentleman's club role, I was just a supervisor. We're called supervisors, right? And we're the guys in the black, or with the red ties or whatever.
What does a VIP host do at a gentleman's club? Like did they do the same thing as a VIP host at a nightclub? They get the table, they supply.
Yeah, a little bit. Yes and no, right? So yes, they do that, but they also go one step further. All of us, and managers included, we are all. Our job, again, is customer service, building those relationships. So we need to make sure that we're establishing contact. How are you? My name is Derick. What is your name? Okay, what are you looking for this evening? Is there a particular type of girl that you like? Is there a particular type of alcohol that you like? I have these kind of bottles. Are you interested in these kind of bottles, right? It's getting a feel for the customer, right? Because what you want is that customer to be like very comfortable. Man, they treated me so good. They got me the alcohol they wanted. They even had the kind of girl that I was looking for. I didn't even know I was looking for that girl, but they had her, right?
What type of descriptions will people come up to you and
all kinds
use?
Of stuff, man. All kinds of. I like Latinas. I like Asians. I like girls.
And I'm sure it can get pretty raunchy.
Some of them, some of them, and like there's been a couple times where I'm like, sir, we don't provide those services at our establishment. It's not our thing.
So I worked at a nightclub in Reno, Nevada, Lex nightclub at the Grand Sierra Resort, and we had.
You know Eric?
I didn't know Eric.
Eric Peterson?
No.
He worked there?
No.
Oh, okay. He's like one of my best friends.
No, but it is a small world. But we had a phrase of saying, we're a zero tolerance club for, prostitution and drugs. Like
100%. Yeah.
How often do you have people coming to the strip club for the wrong reasons?
Honestly, we don't have a lot of issues with that. I mean, I can't speak for other clubs.
Yeah.
I can speak for our club. We don't have a lot of those kind of issues because we are very, very thorough when it comes to our orientations with the ladies. We're at the IPEs, right? We're very thorough with that. We make sure that we set a precedent. Hey, what goes on at some of these other clubs, not allowed here.
Yeah.
You're not going to get away with it here. Don't try it. This isn't the club for you if that's what you want to do.
So I want to know more about the training. Like, this is a sit-down training?
No. It's a walking orientation.
It's a walking orientation.
Right.
Okay.
So what we're doing is when we bring an IPE on board, it's not just like, hey, fill the paperwork out. Okay, go to work.
Yeah,
That's
literally,
not,
I bet some people do that.
I know they do because I've worked at some of those places. Oh, okay, your paperwork's done. Go out on the floor.
Yeah.
No, that's not what we do. When a young lady or lady comes over and she's done with her paperwork, we have a supervisor or we have a manager greet the young lady. Hey, my name is whatever, right? I'm going to walk you around. I'm going to show you how our club functions. I'm going to show you who these people are. I'm going to introduce you to the cocktail waitresses so you know who you can work with and who's. I'm going to show you who the managers are. I'm going to show you how our club functions and operates, and I'm going to show you the absolute things that are not allowed and the things that are allowed, right? And I guarantee you, I promise you, none of these other clubs are doing. I know they're not doing this, right? Again, that's another reason why we're being as successful as we are. That's why we're taking. I don't want to say taking. Maybe that's the wrong word. A lot of these girls are voluntarily coming because I hear this all the time from the girls. We just heard that you have a cool management team. You guys you treat the girls right.
You get it.
You get it. You're not pimps. You're not taking the girls' money, right? It's not what we do. That's not our thing. That's why we all left where we left, because we got tired of dealing with that crap. So it's a very thorough orientation. We take them, we start them once they're done with the paperwork. We take them, we're like, okay, here's the locker room. Here's the house mom. You need anything? House mom has everything that you could possibly need under the sun. She has it. Okay, this is the OG room. This is how the OG room works. This is the prices of the OG room. These are the waitresses that you want to work with. This is Kristen. Kristen's one of my primary OG because she's a shark, dude. She's amazing at her job.
Yeah.
And a lot of my other girls, Espy's really good. Sheann's really good. Jessica's really good. These are my VIP waitresses. They're just really good at what they do.
They're beautiful and they love to sell.
Exactly.
I'm sure.
Yeah. 100%.
Both things. Yeah.
Right. And it's so my point being is that we go through and we just show the girls, this is how this club functions. If you have any questions, please let us know. I am happy to sit down with you if you don't understand something.
If I have a question, who do I come to? If I'm a girl and
any of the managers, you can go to any of the managers, any of the supervisors, because the supervisor here is going to tell you the same thing that this manager over here is going to tell you, right?
So and you guys are pretty congruent with each other on your rules and regulations.
We're very consistent across the board, congruent. Okay. Where we very much, and we listen. We're not perfect, man. We trip and fall sometimes, and sometimes communication, lack thereof. It does happen. It happens, I think, in every business. Yeah. But we're trying to make it across the board so that whatever answer you get here is the same answer you're going to get here. So there's consistency across the board. So there's no, because in our industry, you can't afford to have mess ups because we're in a taboo industry, right? Like everyone loves the strip club, but everyone hates the strip club too. So
I just had someone hating, I was at a entrepreneurship kind of competition class earlier today, and they were hating on, a casino executive that's, found at the strip club at 6 a.m. Like they don't want that being their reputation.
Right.
And so when you say that it is taboo, like it is 100% taboo.
100%.
Even though in Vegas, it's like, it's part of the culture.
Yes, it very much is. And that's, again, that plays into what Vegas is. Vegas is an adult playground.
Yeah.
And I think it's great because now they're petitioning the NFL to have the Super Bowl here all the time, which, they can't do because they've contracted out for whatever. But point being is, even though it is Vegas and even though it is an adult playground, strip clubs are, I think, less so now. I think we're moving past that stage with the way society, the weird way that society's going right now. Yeah. We're still in that taboo type industry, but I think it's not frowned upon nearly as much as it used to be. And back in the day when I got into it, it's like you couldn't tell no one you went to the strip club. You'd be shunned. You're like, oh, what are you doing over there, right? Yeah. Now you go to the strip club, like, oh, how was it? Yeah. Was it cool? Do you see some hot girls? Like, what was it like? So it's getting there, but yes, very much so. You have celebrities that come through that can't take pictures, right? They can't, and I get it. I totally get it because it can't go on. You can't tag a celebrity or whatever on your IG. Oh, this guy's at my strip club.
Yeah.
Because now you're gonna lose all your high-end clientele because you can't keep a secret, right? Yeah. And that's like a huge thing for us. Like, no, celebrities come, don't take pictures of them. Do not post about them. Do not talk about them. They have a right to privacy like everyone else, right? We're very strict about that. But that circles back to how it's viewed in the public eye, right? In the public eye, you're going to a strip club where you're seeing half naked girls. You're going in there because of blah, blah, blah. No, man, I'm just going in there. Listen, I'm a dude.
Yeah.
I like to see boobies. Yeah. I like to drink a little bit. I like to have a good time. It doesn't mean that I'm a bad person, right? And that comes full circle back to what we were talking about earlier about it being a fantasy, providing that fantasy. So that way they came there, they did it, they got it out of their system. Now they're going to go back to their family and be the greatest super dad you've ever seen in your life, right?
So the fantasy is different than, doing something actually terrible.
Yes. Right. And I very much think that, people are going to believe what they want to believe at the end of the day. There are some people, no matter what you say to them, you're evil, you're providing this, you're providing that. There's nothing that you can do to win those people over. So I don't even try anymore. I don't even try with that anymore. But, providing that service that they had a good time and they can go have a good life because they had something fun happen to them at the club is cool. Yeah. So yeah, it's different. The strip club industry is, you have to be ready. Like me, perfect example. Dating in the strip club industry, bro, it's almost impossible. It's almost, because you have to almost date people in the industry. Yeah. Like I was on Bumble last night, right? I had this lady match with me and we were talking. She's like, oh, so what do you do for a living? I was like, well, I have my own business, but I also work at Peppermint Hippo. She's like, oh, you must F all the girls. And I'm like, no. I don't touch the girls. You know why? Because that creates complications in my life that I don't want. I don't do anything with the girls.
Yeah.
Do I get to see them half naked all the time? Absolutely.
Yeah.
One of the perks of my job,
Yeah.
right? Love my job. But no, I don't. I haven't done anything with those girls because then you create favoritism, then people expect things out of you, and it just becomes a clusterfuck.
I think there's a cliche that we can talk about. It's don't shit where you eat.
Exactly. That's exactly correct.
Yes.
That's exactly correct. And I'm in my younger years, not so much. Like, I'm not even going to sit here and lie to you. Like, in my younger years, I made my rounds, man. But as I got older, I have a very stress-free life, right? It's just me and my dog. I live in a really cool spot. I love my dog. I run my business. I work at the club. I have a very stress-free, I make good money.
Yeah.
I don't want to complicate it. Because once you start complicating it, damn, what was that saying? Joe Rogan had a good saying. Most men suffer in silence. It was something along, I don't remember the exact quote, but it was something along those lines because dudes aren't, people can't, especially men, we're not expressive like women, right? We're very reserved, or most of us are very reserved when it comes to emotional expression, myself included, right?
No, me for sure, dude.
Like I put myself in that category. So it comes down to, a lot of that in the taboo industry and dating. Like I said, dating in the industry is it's almost impossible. It's almost impossible because people have preconceptions of everything. Oh, you work in a strip club, you must fuck all the girls.
Yeah.
No, I don't actually. You can go to every girl in there, and I guarantee you're gonna get the same answer from every girl. No, I flirt with them.
Yeah.
I look at them. I don't touch.
I bet the flirtation skills on these girls are out of this world.
Exquisite. They're the best at what they do. We
Right.
we live in Las Vegas. We have the top clubs in the world are here.
Right.
So it's you get, and it's funny because I've had a couple girls come from out of market.
Yeah.
Smaller markets. Nothing wrong with that. And they are they'll be a big fish in a little pond, right? And they come here and they're the little fish, right? And a huge pond.
I'm sure the competition is through the roof.
Stiff.
How much can someone expect to make on a Friday night?
Oh gosh, that varies. I've had girls that make nothing, and there's girls that can make $60,000-$70,000, right? And it depends because you got a whale that comes in. That's what I call them. We call them whales. Like in the crypto industry, we call them crypto whales, right? So you might have a whale come in and he's like, I like that girl and give me a magnum of ace of spades, right? Like this guy, he doesn't care about his money. He calls his credit card ahead of time. He's like, yo, I'm going to the strip club. You lock it on me, we're going to have problems.
Yeah. Because that's embarrassing as fuck, everybody.
Yeah.
When your credit card gets locked up at the club and you're about to check out. But one of the things that I thought was crazy when I worked at the club is that, on camera, we got to get them clearly signing the bill. Like,
yes.
Because
100%. 100%.
Tell us how often people call the next day.
All the time.
I wasn't there. It's like, no, like that was you on camera.
Right.
Like that was you walking to the back with the girl.
You get
like,
chargebacks all the time.
I'm sure.
And me, when it comes to guys like that, I always try and talk to them ahead of time, right? Because one, I don't want to take advantage of a customer. That's not my thing.
Yeah.
Right? I don't enjoy that. That's not how you get good reviews. That's not how you do good business.
Yeah.
Taking advantage of a customer is a good way to drive your business away.
Yeah.
So one, I always try and talk to the customer to make sure, one, that they're sober, right? And they know what they're doing. Hey, talk to me for a second. How you doing? How'd you come to this conclusion? Well, are you sure you want those girls?
Yeah.
Are you having a good time?
Yeah.
If they can answer me without slurring, they're looking me in the eyes, they're not swaying, they're not, we're having a conversation, right? Then I'm like, okay, I'll say, okay, go ahead and sign, right?
Yeah.
But if I feel that they're too intoxicated, listen, man, here's my thing. I don't want to take advantage of you. I feel you're very intoxicated right now, and you're about to spend a lot of money. How about this? Let's call it a night. Let me get you a ride back to your hotel. If you want to come back tomorrow, I'll send my car. You can come back when you're sober, and we can do it tomorrow when you're sober. Yeah. Right. That to me that's taking care of your customer base. You're not taking advantage of it. Now, if the guy comes back, and this happens a lot too, the guy will come back and he'll spend the same amount of money that he wanted to spend, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. He'll do that, right? Yeah. And he'll like you even more because you took care of him. I've had guys literally call me and say, hey man, I really appreciate what you did last night. That was a really stand-up thing. I've never had a club do that for me ever in my life. I want to come there. I'm bringing 2 of my friends. Let's do it. This is what I want. Are the girls working tonight that were there last night? Yeah, they are. Can you line them up for me? I want them in the OG room waiting for me. You know what? I got you, man. I'm gonna take care of you.
Nice.
Right? And so that's really what it is. It's about. And yes, you're going to have chargebacks no matter what, dude. It's just listen. It's part of the game. But as long as you dot your I's and cross your T's, you're not going to lose them, right? Because I didn't force you. I didn't put a gun to your head to force you to do this. I asked you straight up, are you sure you want to do this?
Yeah.
You know, I verbally confirmed with you to make sure you're not super intoxicated and make sure it's something that you genuinely want to do and it's not something you're being pressured or you feel you're being pressured into. So that as a manager and as an owner or, you know, a business in general, that's how you should be treating your customers, right? You take advantage of your customers, you are shooting yourself in the foot. And that's what a lot of people in general, I have to explain that. Listen, take care of them up front. You're going to have residual. They're going to keep coming back. They're going to keep coming back. You burn them once, they're not coming back.
Right.
And that's something that I vocally advocate very passionately about because listen, if you charge me $2,000, I didn't ask you, but I felt like this big dude standing over me, like I'm going to get my ass kicked if I don't sign on the dotted line. Like that's terrible. That's a terrible way to do business, dude. So yeah, it's all about that. We get chargebacks, but yes, same concept. You have to get them on camera. You have to make sure. Like I am a signature connoisseur, dude. Yeah. Anytime my soups bring me something, hey, I need you to sign off on this. They know they better have that signature just how it is in the license. Don't give me no scribbles. Yeah. Because I'm not going to accept that. I'm going to send it right back and say no. I want another signature that looks like this, not whatever that is. Yeah. Right. And so that comes down to your management team. That's what that comes down to.
So I got a question on, expectations at the strip club. Give me some do's and don'ts.
Don't be a douchebag. When I say that, I've kicked guys out. Don't be disrespectful. And especially to the girls, right? And that's one of my biggest pet peeves is we'll have guys that come in there and they are super disrespectful to the women for no reason. I never treat my girls bad. I will never, ever treat my IPs bad. I always, how you doing, baby? Are you feeling good? Is there anything I can get for you? Yeah. They're not coming to see my fat, hairy butt, dude. They're coming to see the young ladies, right? So taking care of your girls is it's essential, man. It's essential to business. And you get guys that come in there that want to smack their ass and they just want to be rowdy and call the girls bitches or this and that. Yeah. Listen, we're a gentleman's club. You want to do that? There's plenty of other clubs you can go do that. This isn't the establishment for you. Don't come in here. Don't be disrespectful. I think this past week I had a gentleman cuss out one of my bartenders. And I went up to him and he's like, well, I come here all the time. And I was like, well, who are you? I was like, if you come here all the time, I open this club up, right?
I don't know who you are.
Yeah, I don't know who you are. My name is Derick. What's your name? Yeah. Right? Oh, I just feel like I'm being disrespected. I'll say, I understand that, but do you feel it's also appropriate to start cussing out the bartender? Right? Is that your go-to? Why would you do that? Why are you can't treat my staff like that, man. I'm very protective of my staff, very protective. And I think any good manager worth his salt is going to be protective of his staff. But at the same time, you can't be so protective that you tune out what that person's concerns are. Maybe that person had a legitimate concern. Maybe my bartender went up there, called him an SOB and I hate you and you can't. Okay, well, that's inappropriate. Yeah. You can't talk to customers like that, right? But that's why there's always 3 sides to a 2-sided story. Always, always, always. So yeah, you get that. That's my biggest pet peeve is don't come in there being disrespectful. Don't come in there being disrespectful to the girls just because you have, you think that you're a certain status or a certain this or a certain that. Don't be disrespectful. I'm not disrespectful to you. I would never be disrespectful to the girls, and I would appreciate people just being respectful, right? Because if you don't approach a situation in the right context or the right frame of mind or the right tone in your voice, it can escalate very quickly, and it can turn into something very dangerous very quickly if you don't know how to de-escalate a situation.
Bro, I bet some people walk in your club thinking they're real hot shit.
Oh my God. That's a nightly occurrence, man. You know who I am? Do you know who I am? That's not the question. Whoa.
What about the people that come in with lots of money? Like, can they get away with a little bit more?
I mean, I wouldn't say they get away with a little bit more. I try and stay even across the board because you start making waves. You're like, oh, well, that person has money. He can do whatever he wants. Like you start creating conflict, right? You start, well, why is that guy allowed to wear that shirt, but I'm not allowed to wear it, right? It's dress code, for example, right?
Dress code's a perfect example because it's like, at some places, hats are extremely not allowed.
Yeah.
But if you roll like that and you're in with the club or wherever, you can wear the hat. You can do whatever.
And and that's why we're always trying to be consistent across the board when it comes to dress code. Dress code, like you said, is a perfect example.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, with any establishment, listen, if it's a private party, obviously we're going to treat that a little different, right? Because we've had celebrities come out and rent out the OG room the whole night. It's a private party. I'm not going to hold them to the same standards that I would in the main thing. They're paying to have that privacy, right? So if they want to come in there with that hat or that jersey or something, they paid the money. Then it's a locked room. General public's not going in there. They can't see it. So in those instances, of course. But when it comes to the general feel or how we treat our customers, it's pretty even. It's pretty even across the board. You can't come in there with bandanas, right? You can't come in there with your pants sagging down to here. Like, that's not the clientele that we appeal to, right? And that's just a choice. I think most establishments in Vegas are like that. I don't think there's many night clubs that don't have, even restaurants here in Vegas that have some sort of dress code or expectation of how you present yourself in public, right? That's a very big thing. That's why I dress the way I do.
And you look dapper doing it.
Thank you. How you present yourself is how the world sees you, right? And that's a very important aspect of it. If you're not presenting the right feel, if you're not presenting the right type, I'm not going to go to that club, right? Because I feel like I'm the odd man out. This is not my vibe. This isn't what I do, right? So it's very important that you stay consistent across the board with it.
All right. Well, Derick, I've loved our conversation today. We're almost wrapping up on our time, but I just want to have you tell us a little bit more about Peppermint Hippo, why someone should check it out if they're ever in town, why a local would go there, like what can they expect, why should they go there, and give us your sales pitch almost.
My sales pitch is if you're tired of going to the same place over and over again and you feel that you're just there be out of comfort and you don't really enjoy the place, then come to Hippo. Like we're the new kids on the block. I mean, at worst case scenario, you don't like it and you go back to your old watering hole, right? Best case scenario, you're like, oh, this is the coolest place I've ever been. I'm gonna stay here, right? We got our new food up and running. We have a burger and beer special in the daytime. We have some of the hottest girls in the city.
What type of women are we talking about?
All kinds. We're probably the most diverse club in Vegas, I think.
Diversity. That's what
we have huge diversity in our club.
Yeah.
I just had a conversation on LinkedIn, right? LinkedIn's one of my primary things. I love LinkedIn. And I had a lady that was, I'm very proud of my team, man. I love my team. I posted a picture of some of my girls, some of my waitresses. And it was something along the lines of like, I'm super lucky to work with such an amazing team, right? And I had a lady that came on there and she was like, well, I don't see any whatever, because it wasn't diversity up to her standards. And I was like, wait a second, one of these girls is of Asian descent, two of these girls is of Latin descent, and one girl's white. I think I have 3 white girls on my whole staff, right? They're all consistent of girls that are mixed, Filipino, Hispanic, Asian. Like I'm telling you, come to the club, you will see the most diverse cocktail staff you've ever seen in your life. I can't even speak enough about that. So when I talk about diversity, I'm not saying it in the PC sense. You're going to find, I'm not a PC guy. I will tell you to your face, I'm not a PC guy. That's not why I say we do it. The reason I say that is because everyone has different tastes.
Right.
Everyone likes different girls.
For sure.
I love Latinas, dude.
Yeah.
Latinas and Asians, bro. That's my jam.
For sure.
That's my jam,
and
right?
everyone likes the size a little bit different.
Right.
As well.
They like different size. Some guys like a little thicker, right? Some guys like a little skinnier girls, and that's okay.
Yeah.
We're not that club that you're going to go and every single girl's going to be a blonde, big boob. Like that's because that's not everyone's taste.
Yeah.
That's not us.
Yeah.
We appeal to the general mass market, not to a niche market that only likes this particular small size girl. It makes no sense. You're destroying, in my opinion, you destroy your business like that because right? I have money to burn. I'm not going to go to a place where all the girls look the same. I want that more exotic look.
Yeah.
That's my thing. So that's what I would say. If you want an exotic vibe, you want girls that are from all kinds of backgrounds, you want a wait staff that's on top of it, you want a bottle service that's going to be outstanding, that you're going to feel like a rock star, that you're going to feel like a rock star every single time that you come to that club, and you're always probably going to, I would say 99% of the time you're going to find what you want, come to Peppermint Hippo. That's what we're about. We're about changing the game, not being the same thing year in, year out. This year alone, I can't even tell you how many policies we've changed because we're like, hey, we tried this. Didn't work out so well. Let's go ahead and try that and change it into this, right? Because we're not stuck in our ways. We're not so old that we're like, just keep it that way. It's been fine for 50 years.
You're evolving. You're thinking
we're
again.
Evolving.
You're taking
staying
a second
ahead of the
look.
game, right? You have to have retrospect. You have to look back. Okay, we implemented this last year. Did it work? No. Cool. Let's change it.
Yeah.
Do it to something that works. So that's what I'm saying to the general public. If you want someone that's not afraid to change, that's not afraid to appeal to the general market, that's not afraid to take steps and do things different and make you feel different and make you like have a different outlook on nightclubs or on gentlemen's clubs, come to Hippo. That's us. That's what we do. Is we make you will come in there and you're like, I didn't know a gentleman's club could act like this or could be like this or you could feel like this in here or you could have a good time. You can dance, you can listen to music and like, oh, this is fucking cool. What's going on here? You got hot girls, you got music, you got everything, you got drinks. Like, it's different. It's just a different place. If you want something different that's not the same old crap, come to Hippo.
Well, that was a fucking sell and a half, Derick. So I appreciate you coming on the show today. I appreciate you telling us a little bit more about you, your job, the Peppermint Hippo. It sounds like it's a dope club, to be honest with you.
I'm telling you, you guys would like it. Come over there.
No, I'll check it out definitely for sure. But I appreciate you being the fourth guest here on Elevation with Chris Oram. We're wrapping up Elevation with Chris Oram, episode number 4 with Derick Opela?
Opela, yeah.
Fuck yeah, I got it right. Hey, and we're cussing on this one. I don't know. We haven't established the policies and procedures on the cussing rules yet, but I think it's okay.
Again, you're learning and you're evolving.
Yes,
right?
I know.
There
We're
you go.
doing it.
Yeah,
Here we are.
There you go.
So, awesome. Thanks for coming on the show today, Derick. Give me some love, brother.
Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Yep. And that's a wrap on this one. Thanks for watching, everybody.